This is Chandler for Boxing Social in association with Betfred, and I'm delighted to be joined by super middleweight prospect Edgar Berlanga. First and foremost, Edgar, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. How's everything?
Yeah, all good, thank you. Thank you very much for jumping on this Zoom call with me tonight. Obviously, wish it could be under better circumstances with the whole coronavirus affecting everybody. Just really on yourself, like how have you been finding the whole coronavirus lockdown and things like that?
I've been taking it easy, man. Obviously New Yorkers got hit really bad, so they have everything locked down over here right now. All the gyms are still locked down, and I was just trying to make a way and train at home, look for different ways to stay in shape, to stay, close to weight and don't blow up in weight, you know what I mean? And, go for light runs and everything. But, we just recently got a call that we could be fighting in July, man. And I'm more than happy right now. And, I'm back in the gym today. I just got back.
What sort of training are you able to do then? Like you're doing some runs and things like that. What else can you do?
Yeah, well, mostly running and stuff. And then I'll be home, I'll shadow box home in my living room. I'll jump rope, do some abs, do some push-ups, sit-ups, just try to keep the body in shape, man.
Yeah, brilliant. I mean, you were due to box on the Stevenson-Mariaga undercard in New York. That was one of the first cards that was really affected by all of this that is going on. How frustrating was that period? And talk me through the process of finding out, because it was going to be behind closed doors and then eventually cancelled. What was that whole process like?
Man, it was sad, for me, because I put in a lot of work. It was an 8-week camp, and I sacrificed a lot. I pushed my body to the limit, man, and I got in great sparring. A lot of rounds I sparred. I had Derevyanchenko, the guy that fought Triple G. I had him in my camp, helping me and pushing me, and it was tough, man. I felt like all that work was for nothing, and then. When fight week came, they said there was going to be no fans. That hurt. But I was like, hey, if I could still get the check, man, it is what it is. I'll take the fight. And then the following day, it was a Thursday. It was actually Thursday night. I just finished making the weight, so I was, chilling in my room, man. And then they gave me the call. Carl Moretti gave me the call and was like, the fight is off, and I was just like, what? Like, I was just in shock.
Moving forward, obviously, we don't know. Well, you said that you'll be back boxing hopefully in July, and obviously we hope that does come to fruition. That's what happens. What sort of opponent were you looking at?
Say it again.
What sort of level of opposition were you looking at to face?
I'm pretty sure. I mean, I know that they're not going to be flying nobody out from a country or from Mexico or from any other country. So, I'm looking to see if they probably give somebody where, I could work, for right now. And then, the following fight, just to get my feet wet, you know what I mean? Because I haven't fought since December. Mm-hmm. So, I'm looking forward to just getting my feet wet once again, getting that feeling back in the ring. And then the following fight, I'm looking to do a little nice step up.
Whilst I've got you, I just wanted to touch on your background. You started boxing at a very young age. When did you start to take an interest in the sport and decide to take it up?
I started boxing like around 7, 8 years old. And I didn't really like this. I like boxing, but I didn't really like it because I had to go every single day, to the gym and stuff. And that's what really killed me, because I wanted to be a kid. I wanted to be outside, hanging around with the kids, play in the streets and stuff, and I couldn't do none of that. I had to go from school to the boxing gym, from the boxing gym back home. And then around the age of 14, 15 years old, I feel like I really started taking it serious, when knowing I could really go deep into the sport. And I seen world champions and trained with world champions, seen them making a lot of money. And I felt like I could take this as a career.
So what sort of convinced you to walk into the gym for the first time?
It was my dad. My dad was the first guy to ever put me in a boxing gym. And he took me into the gym. He was driving by one day and he seen the gym open. He went inside. I was with him. And his friend was actually training a whole bunch of kids. And he was just like, his boy was like, yo, listen, man, you know, bring your son. You got a son? He's like, yeah, I got a son. He's like, so bring him. You know, I'm training kids now. And then my dad and my mom had like this thing with me where I was like always like all over the place, you know, as a kid. You know, I had a lot of energy, you know, and he felt like I should put it to something positive, you know, and he took me to the boxing gym.
Did your dad box?
He boxed when he was younger in Puerto Rico.
Mm-hmm.
But when he was younger, he never took it serious, but he boxed a little bit in Puerto Rico, and then he came to the U.S. He came over here to New York.
You were, as an amateur, you went on to win the national championships 8 times, I believe it was. You've boxed in different countries. What was that whole amateur experience like, and how beneficial do you feel that it will be when it comes to sort of high-profile fights and, you know, certainly boxing in other countries?
No, it was an amazing experience, you know, and I feel like I got top-notch experience, you know, with traveling to different tournaments and competing with different fighters from all over the world, you know, and then I wound up going to Russia, and I competed with, you know, like the Germans and, you know, the Russians and the guys from Ireland and stuff, and it was just an amazing experience, you know, and, you know, we would do at least like 6 tournaments to 7 tournaments a year, national tournaments. Or just tournaments in general, you know, where to get that experience, you know. But it was amazing.
You obviously mentioned that you're of Puerto Rican descent. Do you feel like that sort of implemented when you've implemented that into your style? We've seen legends from that country produce we've seen legends produced from that country, such as Felix Trinidad, most recently Miguel Cotto, you know, just to name a couple. Were those fighters that you would sort of look up to and you take things to implement into your own craft?
Yeah, 100%, man. I feel like I always had that in me because of my uncle and my grandmother. They used to always watch they always used to watch Trinidad fight, you know, and I was like 2, 3 years old, and I used to sit down in front of the TV and just watch them fight, you know, and I loved them. And then I love Trinidad, man. I used to watch all his fights, and then I had a tape of him and Bernard Hopkins. And when, you know, obviously Bernard Hopkins had the best of him, man, and I started crying. And then I had the tape in my house, so I'll put the tape in and I watched the fight, and he'll beat him, and I start crying. So then, you know, I watched that tape around like 4 times, and I kept crying, and then my uncle just took the tape from me and was just like, yo, like, we can't, you know what I mean? We can't have him watching this fight because he keeps crying, you know? And then when I was like 7 years old, that's when Miguel Cotto came. You know, he took over, and he became a superstar for Puerto Rico, man. And I just, you know, I started watching him too, and I fell in love with Miguel Cotto as well.
Unless I'm mistaken, you've met Felix Trinidad before, right?
Not physically, but we've spoken on FaceTime and stuff about like 3 times. Mm-hmm. You know, and I was supposed to go over there with my dad to Puerto Rico, and we were supposed to like go out there and have dinner with him and, you know, just, you know, chop it up with him and stuff, but we never had the chance to.
So do you have quite a good relationship with him without having actually met him then?
Yeah. He really knows about me, and, you know, like, he even said, like, you know, like the way my career started and his started, like, I'm way advanced than he was, you know, and, you know, I fought way better oppositions than he did, you know, and I'm knocking them out in the first round. So he was just like really, really impressed.
Yeah, that's cool, man. What was it like watching? I'm sure you must have watched this fight, and it's actually the time of recording. I think it's 19 years ago today is when he became a freeweight world champion against William Joppy. What was it like to see that spectacle of the roaring Puerto Rican crowd there at MSG?
Man, you know, I'm happy to say I experienced somewhat like of that with Miguel Cotto, you know, and, you know, that right there was just like, wow, like, that could really be me, you know. I'm big, I'm from New York, I'm Puerto Rican, you know what I mean? I have a huge fan base in Puerto Rico and in New York, you know, and it was just that feeling, man, is just, that adrenaline rush is just insane, you know, just being Puerto Rican and me knowing that I could be in the same position they was, you know. And, you know, watching that fight, man, with Joppy, with William Joppy, it was that energy in Madison Square Garden was insane.
Yeah. How do you think Trinidad would have fared with Pacquiao?
Say it again?
How do you think Trinidad would have fared? I know you're going to obviously side to choose to Trinidad, but how do you think that fight?
No, I know I can't be biased, man. You know, I can't be biased. You know, I'm you know, when it's time to really spectate a fight, you know what I mean? I have to be honest, you know, and I feel like I think Pacquiao would have had the best of him, you know what I mean? Because Pacquiao's speed and the amount of punches he throws, you know what I mean? And you see what he did to Miguel Cotto. And Miguel Cotto's a boxer, you know, and you're talking about a guy like Trinidad that, you know, Trinidad didn't really have good foot movement, you know what I mean? He had a good left hook and he could punch, you know? But I feel like, in my opinion, I feel like Pacquiao would have had the best of him.
What about Trinidad versus Cotto?
Oh, that's I don't know, man. For me, that's a 50-50 fight right there.
Yeah, that
would have been insane.
It would have been a good fight, right?
Yeah.
You had your first 3 professional bouts in Mexico. Just what was that experience like, and how did that develop you as a fighter?
It was a great experience, man. You know, going into another country, you know, into the opposition's hometown and just fighting him. And it was weird, man, because you would think the crowd would be going with him, and they was actually rooting for me, you know. That was all 3 times, you know, and I fought in the same town. So the first time they was like, who's this kid? And then after I damaged them, they was just like, wow. And then I came back the second time, and like the arena got more packed. And then the third time I went, the arena was just because the arena was just insane. You know what I mean? The arena was just going crazy when I came out the third time, you know? So I felt like they was getting used to me, and they liked me a lot because I was like a real people's person, you know? When I came out, I took pictures with the fans. I gave a lot of clothes away to the kids, to the Mexican kids out there that was watching. You know, I gave hats, shirts. My second pro fight, there was a kid that he was a big fan of me, man. And I gave him my boxing boots, I gave him my trunks, and I gave him my gloves and my hand wraps. I gave him everything right after the fight.
You've been sort of in between 160 and 168, and you're a grown man. You know, you still haven't reached your full size, I suppose is the way to word it. But is it that we're to assume that you will be competing at super middleweight in the future?
Yeah. So we today actually we just decided that we're gonna stay at super middleweight, just for the simple fact that I'm growing, man. You know, I'm 23 years old. We're about to turn 23, and you know, I'm just getting bigger, man. You know, my body's just big, my legs is big, and it's not like I can't punch. You know, I can punch, and I know I can hang in there with the best of them. You know, so we're looking forward to just staying at 168 super middleweight and just being comfortable there.
How do you assess the current world champions at 168? Obviously, you've got David Benavidez, Caleb Plant. Over on this side of the pond, you've got Billy Joe Saunders, Callum Smith. How do you rank them from 1 to 4, and what makes the number 1 stand out against the rest?
For me, number 1 is I feel like it's Caleb Plant. You know, because he has a good boxing IQ. You know, he's very sharp. You know, that I could go with. It's a little iffy because I like Callum Smith. And I like Benavidez as well, but I see a little decrease in Benavidez's, you know, because I feel like he takes a lot of punishment, you know, like he takes a lot of punches, you know, and when a fighter takes a lot of punches, they don't last in the sport for very long, you know. So I figure I'll say like Callum Smith, number 2, and then number 3, Benavidez, and then who you said for number 4?
Billy Joe Saunders.
Who?
Billy Joe Saunders.
Oh, Billy Joe. Oh, shit. I like Billy Joe. I think, shit. All right, so I'll go with Caleb Plant, Billy Joe, Callum Smith, and then Benavidez.
Okay.
Now, and then you got Canelo too, and that's gonna be a big fight in 2 years with me and him. I know for 100% is gonna be a big fight because that's gonna be Mexico versus Puerto Rico. You know.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that would be a huge fight. Is that the sort of like aim for you as a professional then, like coming through the ranks? Are you seeing Canelo as the sort of the man to target when you reach that? Of course,
100%. There's millions to be made in that fight. You know what I mean? You know that there's always that thing, the Puerto Rico Mexico rivalry thing. You know what I mean? So I know for a fact if I keep winning, if I keep knocking everybody out and just keep winning, you know what I mean? I know eventually that fight is going to take place sooner or later.
Mhm. Now, we can't go through this interview without talking about that knockout power. 13 knockouts, all within the first rounds. I mean, just where on earth does that power come from, man?
Like I always say, is from God, you know? It's a God-given thing, man. It's a God-given talent. It's a God-given strength, you know, and I give all the glory to him, you know. And as a kid, I always had power, but I never had devastating power, you know. So I feel like I just grew into that, you know what I mean? As I got older, I grew into my man body, and I still haven't reached my peak as you know, as my man body, my man strength, you know what I mean? I feel like I must develop that around 24, 25 years old.
So yeah, more to come. Yeah. I mean, is it are the first round knockouts like just a coincidence, or is it when you start the round you want to get them out there as soon as possible?
Nah, not at all. Like when I go out there, I just handle my business. You know what I mean? And like I always say, you don't get paid overtime. You know, so I'm not gonna carry a fighter. If I know he got to get out of there, he got to get out of there. Whether he makes it to the second or third round, if I know a fighter knows when a fighter shouldn't be in that ring with you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I know a lot of these fighters is not going to be in the ring with me, you know what I mean? Shouldn't be in the ring with me. So it's like, and if I see any openings, like, you know, if I'm in there and I see a little flaw in him and I see openings, whether it's a body shot or, you know, he's dropping his left hand, you know, I'm going to execute on those shots.
You signed with Top Rank and Bob Arum a few fights ago. What was the sort of decision behind that, and what sort of discussions have you had, as in, what is the plan for yourself as a fighter moving forward?
Like with Top Rank, you know, I love them, you know, and they're moving me great. You know, we doing four to five fights a year. You know, they just want to take they just want to take their time with me, you know, because there's a lot of lines in that weight division. You know what I mean? The 168, 160 division. You know what I mean? And you know, I'm still a puppy. Well, a young cub, I guess you could say, you know what I mean? I'm still a young cub, a young lion coming up. So they just want to groom me the right way, where when it's time to really step up with those big fights, I'm going to be more than ready.
What is the sort of ultimate goal for you? I mean, we've obviously mentioned Canelo, but there's also, you know, some fighters want a world title, for some it's money, facing the better fighters like Canelo. For some fighters, it's about fighting at a specific venue. What is it that you want to achieve in the sport?
Yeah, for me, like, it's just legacy, you know what I mean? And obviously it's for the money, you know, like, because, you know, you get paid, you know, and I want to take care of my family, my mother, my father, you know, but also it's for legacy, you know, and I do want to beat the best, you know what I mean? In order to do that, in order to be the best, you have to beat the best, you know? And in order to go down in the Hall of Fame, you have to beat the best, you know what I mean? You cannot just go in there thinking that you're going to make millions of dollars and you're not going to be fighting the best, you know? For you to make 10 million, 15 million, 20, 25, 30, 50 million, and the number keeps going up, you have to fight the best, you know, and that's what I want to do. I'm here for, you know, and I just want to continue to carry that legacy for the Puerto Rican community, you know, for my island and for my Puerto Rican people.
You mentioned at the start of the interview where you've obviously sparred a fair bit with Sergei Derevyanchenko, forgive me, who's always given a good account of himself at world level, just hasn't, you know, quite lifted that world title just yet. What is it like to have such high quality sparring in the start of your career?
No, it's good, you know, and I'm glad that I have him, like, as a stablemate because, you know, he's been in there with the best, you know what I mean? And not only that, he has over 500 amateur fights, so he has all the experience in the world, you know, and for me, it's like me sparring with him and me knowing that he did damage to Triple G and I was one of his main sparring partners for that fight in that camp with him, you know, that just put me on another level mentally. And it's a blessing, man, to have him with me, you know what I mean? And he's going to be here with me for a long time.
What is your sort of like motivation behind boxing? Like what keeps you going in training?
What keeps me going in training, like, so what I feel like, you know, I just have a motivation for something, you know, and it's just like my parents, you know, like my mother, you know, like seeing my mom working and, you know, having to kill herself at her job. Like right now, through this whole COVID-19, she works at a hospital, you know, so she's always dressed up, you know, with how you call those things?
The masks.
Yeah, the mask and stuff. And every day she's risking her life in there, you know what I mean? And taking care of patients that have the coronavirus, you know, and it's just like, damn, you know, like I'll just look at all that stuff. And then my dad, you know, working nonstop, you know, to feed his family, you know, to feed my little brother, to feed my sister. And right now, that's just my motivation, you know, it's just them. And to put them in that right position where I could retire them.
There's a couple of fights that I just wanted to get your thoughts on before I let you go, Edgar. One of them being that by all accounts it was ready and it was going to happen was Canelo versus Billy Joe Saunders. We're hoping that that fight still happens. If that fight does still happen, who do you give the edge to and why?
I'll give the edge to Canelo, but Billy Joe's a boxer. He's southpaw, and I know that Canelo has big problems with southpaws, but not only that, he has big problems with good boxers, you know. But I feel like, you know, Canelo's more groomed, and I feel like that he's gonna find a way to beat him. You know, but I don't take nothing away from Billy Joe. I feel like he's gonna give Canelo a hell of a fight, but I give the edge to Canelo on that.
It was another fight which, you know, pretty much the same. It was confirmed to happen, and we're kind of hoping that that fight will still take place. Was Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano. How do you see that fight going?
Who was it?
Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano.
I don't really know too much about her opponent. I never seen that girl fight before.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So I don't really know, but Amanda Serrano's a beast, man. You know, she punches like a mule, that girl. You know what I mean? So I feel like any girl that steps in her way, that steps in her weight class, whatever, she's gonna take them out.
Okay. Just finally, Edgar, where can people follow your journey on social media?
Instagram, you can follow me at Real Edgar Berlanga. Facebook, Edgar Berlanga, and on my Twitter, Edgar Berlanga Jr.
Okay. And do you have a message for the fans who are tuning in to watch this interview?
So my fans out there that's tuning in, I love you guys. Keep supporting me, and I'm continue to fight for you guys. You know what I mean? I should be back in the ring in July, hopefully, and you know, sky's the limit, man.
Okay. Well, Edgar Berlanga, thank you very much for your time tonight and for speaking to myself and Boxing Social.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.